settlers flocked west to the promise and power of my homelands. They found the volcanic soil from my ancient past to be an excellent topsoil. Farming began, and the crops were fruitful and productive. For a time. In a number of quick years, their yields diminished rapidly as they exhausted what moisture was in the soil. A number of years of above-average rainfall had misled them all. Their crops were doomed to failure. It became painfully apparent that unless a means could be found to halt the erosion of the topsoil, this whole expanse of potentially fertile land would soon be consigned to desert. The hundreds of thousands of acres cleared for farming began instead to blow away. A small group of dedicated people devised a plan to construct a dam. Having lived amidst this changing land and sharing in the sorrow and concern, they sought to distribute my life-giving waters across 1 million acres of thirsty land. Their vision eventually led to a full-scale government study of the Columbia Basin. This report not only favored the dam, but went further, recommending 8 dams to completely harness the potential of my swirling waters. The largest dam of them all being the key for control of my entire path, the Coulee Dam. To the President of the United States, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, this project represented not a costly expenditure, but a valuable investment for the nation. An investment that would not only be capable of paying for itself many times over, but would strengthen this country by strengthening its resources. In the time following the Great Depression, allocating such massive funding was a bold move, but FDR convinced Congress and made the project part of his Public Works Administration project, supplying jobs to the nation's unemployed and helping to put the nation back to work. When the ground was broken on July 16, 1933, it signaled a start to a flow of workers that would soon transform a population of less than 25 to more than 16,000, with over 7,000 men and women working on the dam. In my thousands of centuries of existence, never have I witnessed a more ambitious task. 22 million cubic yards of dirt and rock had to be removed. Miles of holes were drilled into the bedrock to test for fissures. Tons of concrete were pumped into the fissures under 600 pounds of pressure, readying the bedrock for 12 million cubic yards of concrete. A refrigeration plant had to be installed in order to freeze an entire cliff face and put an end to its landslides. My natural course had to be diverted, and the granite riverbed beneath hand-polished in order to prepare it for the massive amount of concrete to follow. One block at a time, concrete was poured, and the dam began to grow. Soon my waters were backing up behind the dam. As a new lake began to form, surveyors marked out a line 1,290 feet above sea level. Everything below would be submerged in my icy chill. Now, rising in stark contrast to the grand scope and vision of the project's benefits, came the hard realities of the trade-offs for such aspiring dreams. 11 towns were abandoned and moved. A once thriving salmon run was reduced, and many Native American tribal fishing sites disappeared. American Indians gathered for a ceremony of tears when their tribal fishing grounds at Kettle Falls was overrun. Measures were taken to make up for the loss. Salmon runs were transplanted to downriver tributaries. Fish ladders and lifts were installed where possible, and hatcheries were created to stock newly formed lakes. But the message was clear. No change in the land could be without a change in the lives of those who inhabited the land, both man and animal. Painful were these trade-offs, but the benefits of this single project soon were to serve the entire country. 8 years after it was begun, the largest concrete structure in the world backed water nearly 150 miles to the Canadian border. The Grand Coulee Dam had been completed.
Largest concrete structure in the world.
Very soon afterwards, Chief Jim James of the Sand Coil Band pushed a button delivering the first hydroelectric energy from the dam to the Colville Confederated Tribes Reservation. I was now the driving force behind the largest hydroelectric plant in the world. Electricity, hydroelectricity, non-polluting, inexpensive production of electric power from water. It may sound like a difficult concept for a river, but I understand all that involves me. Allow me to explain. The process begins with water and the certainty that it will always flow downhill. Water flowing toward its distant destination is drained down an inlet tube called a penstock and into a turbine. The great force of water rushing into this confined space pushes against blades which in turn rotate a shaft and a powerful electromagnet called a rotor. This rapidly moving rotor spins within a stationary ring of copper, thereby causing the electrons in the copper to flow, creating electricity. The water is then discharged, and it continues along its peaceful path to the ocean.
Wow, look at that. Hey, sorry. Look at that.
I'm taking videos of it. It's like 7 minutes.